Derek, Rural Investor. Today we're going to talk about what I think is just the fundamental building block, the cornerstone, if you will, of what we do on this channel, which is invest for cash flow. You must maintain access to capital, whether it's from yourself or you respect and understand the idea of credit and borrow from others to invest for a spread. Access to capital is paramount to begin this in a successful way. So this is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own due diligence. Consult any financial professionals that you see fit. I recently got the Robinhood Gold credit card. I've been on the list for a while. My name hadn't come up yet. And I'm super excited about it. It's 3% back on all purchases anywhere at any time. And for me, who has a large family and spends more than a few $1,000s a month, we're talking about somewhere between $200 and $250 that I am going to save on my normal purchases. I'm not buying more. I'm not buying extra. All I'm doing is getting 3% back on the money I'm already spending. Now, for me, I was using my SoFi card every day at 2%. And so I am getting 33% more back, as a discount. But for somebody who's using a debit card or cash, know that if you're out there investing for cash flow, one of the easiest things you can do is have discipline, respect your credit score, and learn how to use credit cards appropriately, because they're one of the best cash flow devices that you have out there. I also have a number of other cards that I think we should probably talk about. So I have my Robinhood Gold card that I'm going to get 3% back on no matter what I purchase. And then I also have two specialty cards. Because I have a homestead, I have my Tractor Supply card. I get 5% off of larger purchases, sometimes grain, sometimes fencing, and they're right down the road. So it's super convenient to get a low price-ish on a box store. They know me there. Sometimes I get little deals and stuff, which is pretty cool. And then I have my Amazon card, which is 5% back as well, except if you'll delay shipping or during their high sales times, like Prime Day or leading up into Christmas, sometimes you can get 6 or 7% back, which means when I purchase something, I'm never paying full price. I'm paying 97 to 93 cents on the dollar, and those 3 to 7 cents are mine. That's cash flow. Right? That goes right into my account. Now with the Robinhood Gold account, it literally goes right into my brokerage account. And boom, there I am creating more cash flow for myself using devices that are available to me. I think mastering credit cards is just so important. It's such a quick, easy access to both cash flow, and the second part of that is capital. If you happen to be a cash user or a debit card user, if you know you can't handle credit cards, there is discipline in understanding that and avoiding that mistake. But if it's a fear or just a lack of want, I would tell you to develop your skill. Not only can you get up to 3% back on all purchases with your Robinhood Gold card, they don't pay me any money, I just really like the product. If you switch from a cash payment system to a credit payment system, you get that lead time before you have to make your statement payment. And when you open up a new card, you don't have to pay anything that first cycle. It's not till the second cycle. So I actually don't have to make a payment for 55 days on my Robinhood credit card. So if I was going from cash to credit, that is 55 days of cash that I would have sent out as I went to each individual store that's still in my bank account. And that means I have more paychecks coming in. I have more cash flow coming in from my investments. And that, if you're new here, is capital to start your business. You don't need to have anything saved. What you need to understand is how to use your credit score to create access to credit. And all of a sudden, you could have a few $1,000s sitting there with a couple $100s to invest and not having to do anything, not having to save, not having to skimp, just understanding how to gain access to capital. I think the other thing I would like to talk about today, because it involves discipline and it kind of relates to credit cards, is I get a lot of questions about, hey, can you look at this fund, OVL? Can you look at this fund, WTPI? Can you look at this fund, GPIX, or, versus SPYI? What do you think the difference is? And my answer is all four of those funds that I mentioned are good. If you're in one, stay. If you want to get into a different one, get into it without getting out of one of those four funds. The more micromanaging you do, the more you open yourself up to mistakes. It's like I'm going tractor shopping, which I am. And I'm going to come home with a brand new Kubota. I have looked at all the models and I decided to get the Kubota because I thought it matched my needs with the right backhoe and the lift capacity and the price. And my neighbor sees it and he goes, oh, it'd be really useful to have a tractor on my property. Well, I got the leftover model and he goes and gets the brand new model, and they redesigned the hood and they were able to juice up the mid PTO a couple of horsepower, and they came out with a new loader, and it can lift an extra 200 pounds. What we're talking about is me taking my brand new tractor and trying to trade it with my neighbor for a small, slight benefit because something new came out that had a slight increase. In reality, the tractor that I bought is going to do the job that I needed to do. But beyond that, I have to take the time to go either back to the dealer to finagle a better deal, to convince my neighbor maybe to swap or give him cash. And what am I not doing? I'm not working my land. I have taken my eyes off the prize, which is the business, the portfolio, the fact that I was going to do work, and now I have analysis paralysis, right? And so any of the funds that you look at and you determine are good, leave them alone. Don't go try to jump around and make all these fine-tuned, nitty-picky things and get out of SPYI for GPIX or get into OVL. A lot of it is just rotation and the strategy having hit or just missed its key period. Misty comes to mind, MSTY. If Bitcoin continued to ride up and MicroStrategy saw an expansion in its multiple, Misty would be everybody's favorite investment. Except it didn't. We're in a crypto bear market, and the multiple of strategy contracted. So you got hit twice, and so everybody's like, oh, the yield max funds are bad. They're terrible. You shouldn't use them. No, they're very volatile. They do exactly what you ask them to do, those single stock high yield ones. NVDY is one that I have a couple of shares of because I wanted to watch how these products work. So I don't consider it part of my portfolio. It's in my watch. I need to see things sometimes to learn. It's fantastic. It does better than NVIT. But it's wildly volatile and I can't stomach it. And so it's not my choice. It doesn't mean the investment vehicle was bad. It means I had bad timing. Now, maybe you want to get out because you see the bear market coming, and that's a structural change because of an observation you make about conditions, right? That's evaluating your portfolio and deciding that something doesn't meet your needs. It's not chasing a slightly better return in something like SPYI versus GPIX. Don't get yourself caught up. The more changes in micromanaging you try to do, the more little mistakes you're going to make and the more it's going to add up. Because when the market rotates back or we have a flat period of time, the other fund is going to rise. Well, the one you had, you coveted, were jealous of, is going to have its slight underperformance period. And I guess to finish it up, a lot of that has to do with discipline. And I think I talked about two ends of my process, right? Access to capital and then evaluating from time to time the performance of your portfolio. Both connected by discipline. So if you could like the video and subscribe to the channel, that would be great. It really does help me out a lot. Oh, and some of you do ask about farm and homesteading stuff and actually my signs. I have actually set up I guess a list. It's below in my description. Never done this before, where you can get access to some of the things that I have. I carry a Leatherman every day, so my Leatherman Surge is on there. If you guys were interested in multi-tools, Leatherman, some of my signs, you would pay the same price, but I get a small commission if you click my link, which would be pretty cool. It'd be a way to, I don't know, make a couple of bucks for me and cost you no extra money. But again, don't feel any need to do so in any way. And then also in my description below, I have a more detailed article that I posted on Substack where I list out essentially my 6-step process of cash flow investing. And I'm going to start to walk through that in more detail as we go along here, because I really think it's important to start sharing more specifics. I do a lot of general talking and try to give ideas, but I am pretty disciplined when it comes to my process, and I think that I feel comfortable sharing that out now. So if you want to check out the article in the description below on Substack, that would be great as well. So again, if you could like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you and have a good night.